I grew up with nothing. I started out with life from nothing, and you know, I think that because I started out from a point of loss. You know, my pop's dying, and then as I got older, I my authority figure type image was skewed. My son died, and from then on, it was just, I mean, I was already a handful. I was all gas, no brakes. Once my son died, I was 21 at the time. I beat a cop. I fractured his skull from his eye socket down to his jaw. Needless to say, I was a violent criminal. So I got incarcerated for that. Did a long time. So I got a long fine in prison. I got out, and that was the hardest part. Like it really was. Like I couldn't stand the line at Walmart's. Anywhere. I couldn't be in line anywhere, especially with nowhere to go. Like somebody behind me and somebody in front of me, it was a whole fucking problem. You know what I mean? Like I just felt uncomfortable. Then when I went back out to using my own ways, I had got beaten down to a point of incomprehensible demoralization. I had exhausted every possible way of me trying to make it work. And the biggest thing is that I wasn't fully in recovery. I was just having clean time. There's three different phases in my mind. Is sobriety, which is what you get when you go to detox and you get out, you're sober. Then there's clean time, just getting clean and getting acclimated and getting used to the going to meetings and networking, getting a sponsor. And then there's actual recovery. I wanted it, but I didn't know how to get it. I kept on trying to incorporate my will and my thinking to adopt the program my way. So I was drinking in the morning. I was drinking all day long, excessive amounts, a couple liters of liquor a day. And I was operating, I was cutting grass. I'd carry a 2 liter of liquor a day. And I was operating and stuff. And I couldn't function. I couldn't keep down food. I couldn't drink water unless I was drinking. I had several alcohol withdrawal seizures. I've been to doctors before. They said, if you quit drinking right now, you will die. And so I went to my mother and I was like, I cannot do this on my own. And I think that was my pivotal point in the catalyst for change came on my own, because I was tired of fighting. I've been fighting my whole life. And I couldn't see any other way. Like there was no other. I needed to get it done professionally first. And I got out of detox and I had nowhere to go and nothing else to do. And so I'd actually called foundations, and I knew the director. He was actually in rehab with me, maybe like a year prior or whatever, something like that. I said, I need to get in foundations. He said, there's like a 6 to 8 week wait period. And I was like, I cannot wait 6 or 8 weeks. I will die. So my options were pretty variable. It was on a 50-50 chance that it was either homicide or suicide. And that was pretty much my only two options. I've seen a lot of people die. I've seen a lot of people killed. I've seen people gutted, real savage stuff. And I thought that was the way it was going to happen for me, and 2 minutes later, he calls me back. He said, I'm on the way to pick you up. And I couldn't believe it. I was like, okay. So I'm in my mid 40s and I've done nothing but progress because I wanted it for me. I didn't care about an image. It wasn't for my mother. It wasn't for a girlfriend, a job. When you get past the silliness of it all, you get down to the core of what you really are. And I think that's what, for me, that's what I had to get down to. I had to boil down the layers of the onion and get down to the core of what it is that I wanted, who I was. I had to create my own identity again. Of course, a majority of that beginning time was incarceration. I thought I was never going to drive again. Since I've been here, I had 2 vehicles. I've been driving for about maybe 2 years. I have a whole different set of standards today. At any point in time, if you needed it, I'll save your life. And now the reputation that I developed is nothing but honesty and integrity. So everything I do, my visions, my ambitions, my aspirations, they're pretty much endless. So I don't see a final point where I'll be like, I'm okay. I don't ever want to be okay. I never let down. I never back down. I never sit back and, oh, I'm okay. No, there's things you could be doing. There's people you could be talking to, things you could be developing. There's some aspect that you're missing. It doesn't matter what it is. There's nothing that's stopping you except for you, you know? And as soon as I got out of the way, my mentality of thinking that my limitations, it's empowering, you know?